You're watching Business Now on iBrandTV Lagos. Now to Africa news. The African Development Bank Group says it is implementing infrastructure projects worth $11.5 billion in West Africa. Maria Lore Akin-Olubade, the Director General, West Africa Regional Development and Business Delivery Office of the bank, made this known on Sunday. Akin-Olubade has said that 39% of the investment, which represented $4.5 billion, was for transport infrastructure, while 19%, representing $2.1 billion, was for investments in energy infrastructure. Director General, who said the total investment excluded projects in Nigeria, said that $0.65 billion was for investments in water and sanitation. She listed the countries benefiting from some of the bank's infrastructure projects, including Burkina Faso, Guinea-Bissau, Senegal, Sierra Leone, and the People's Republic of Congo, among others. Akin-Olubade said that infrastructure projects were some of the big sector projects that the bank intends to do more in West Africa and the continent. The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority anticipates a possible drop between 20 to 25% of cargo berths at the port this year, especially cargoes that come into the country from the Russia-Ukraine regions. Michael Laguje, GPHA Director General, said that data gathered from shippers indicates that due to the effect of the Russia-Ukraine war, cargo traffic into the country will dip, as about 25% of wheat and fertilizer imports to the country were from Ukraine and Russia. Luguje said during the 7th meeting of the Port Management Association of West Africa and Central Africa, harbour masters and port facilities security officers in Tema. The three-day meeting brought together port management, harbour masters and port security officers from Ghana, Nigeria, Liberia and Senegal, among others, in West Africa and Central Africa to share ideas, identify common port challenges and adopt holistic measures to mitigate them. Now to foreign news. G7 leaders have detailed plans to mobilize $600 billion in funding for the development of the world in a move seen as a counter to China's Belt and Road Plan. The Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment relaunches a scheme unveiled at last year's G7 talks in England. US President Joe Biden said the plan would deliver returns for everyone. China's multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure initiative is criticized for hitting nations with too much debt. The US president added the scheme would allow countries to see the concrete benefits of partnering with democracies. Now, oil prices edged higher on Monday in a volatile session as investors waited for any moves against Russia oil and gas exports that might come out of a meeting of leaders of the group of 7 nations in Germany. The prospect of even tighter supplies loomed over the market as Western governments sought ways to cut Russia's ability to fund its war in Ukraine, even though G7 leaders were also expected to discuss a revival of the Iran nuclear deal, which might lead to more Iranian oil exports. Members of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and their allies, including Russia, known as OPEC, will likely stick to a plan for accelerated oil output increases in August when they meet on Thursday. Brent crude futures rose 46 cents to $113.58 a barrel by 10:48 GMT after rebounding 2.8% on Friday. U.S. West Texas intermediate crude was at $107.82 a barrel, up 20 cents or 0.19%, following a 3.2% gain in the previous session. For the first time in a century, Russia defaulted on its foreign currency government debt. However, the situation is a bit tricky because the government claims to have funds but is unable to transfer them to creditors due to sanctions that have cut Russia out of international financial systems. The deadline for a $100 million overdue interest payment expired on Sunday. The Treasury Department recently closed a loophole that had allowed the Kremlin to make debt payments owed to American bondholders through American banks. Finance Minister Anton Seluanav's comments were prompted by the grace period that ended on Sunday, based on Bloomberg. The 30-day window was triggered when investors failed to receive coupon payments due on the dollar and euro-dominated bonds on May the 27th. I will go on a commercial break now. We'll continue with more updates when Perpetua steps in.